Zachary King was a satanic high wizard. He converted to Catholicism about 10 years ago and is a very intense Catholic. As intensely as he was into Satan, he's 10 times more into God now.
I was the high wizard for 12 years. I was in Satanism for 26. I was a manager of Piercing Pagoda. I went in, this woman came up and she reached in her purse and she pulls out this little gold disc. She said, "The Blessed Mother is calling you into her army."
And for any non-Catholic listeners out there, this is a medal that Mary appeared to St. Catherine Labouré in the 19th century, asked her to cast it. And for any non-Catholics out there, we do not adore Mary as God, but we do know that Jesus promised many graces through the hands of Mary to anybody that wears this medal.
So I stuck my hand out, and she's all smiles, and she drops this medal in my hand, and I clench my fist around it. My mall and my store completely disappear. Mary appeared to me, and she smiled at me, a smile I knew I did not deserve. I was acutely aware of my 146 assisted abortions. And she took me by the hand that had the medal in it, and she turned me around. And Divine Mercy Jesus was standing behind me. But I didn't know what Divine Mercy was. I just knew that I've got these rays of light shooting out of Jesus and shooting around me, over me, and under me, and through me. And in that instant, I knew that Jesus Christ was my Lord and Savior. I knew that all my magic, my occult, my Satanism, and my New Age was false and fake promises. And I knew everything Catholic was truth. This was January 2008. So when I graduated from high school, I was going off to college, and I wanted to join another satanic coven. I heard there was a group out there that was out to rule the world, that they worked with the Illuminati, and that they were giant satanic coven. So I called them and I told them what I used to do. At my coven, if you are brand new to the coven, you wore a white robe. If you are an actual Satanist, you wore a black robe. And if you practice magic, you wore a red robe. I wanted the red robe, and I got that. And they tell me that I've been chosen to be the next high wizard.
What state was this in?
Florida.
Uh-huh.
So they're telling me you're going to work with kings and queens, presidents, monarchs, rock stars, actors, billionaires. I worked with a few governmental groups, and one of them was the Bildeberg group. And this is going to be a room of not just billionaires and politicians, but people that are truly out to rule the world. People that want the New World Order. They hold a lot of each other in disdain. They don't like each other very much. And they certainly don't like me. But they know if they want to get something done, I was a necessary evil. They had to put up with me to get what they wanted. And they had to pay big bucks to get it. And there's all these billionaires in the room, and Bill Gates walks in the room. And Bill Gates comes in, and he has an entourage with him, and they brought these drinks in cups. It looks disgusting. It's red and green, and it's kind of lumpy. And I don't know what it is. It stinks. Everybody's making a face that looks at it or smells it. Now, it turns out that it has adrenochrome in it, but I didn't know that at the time. And he tells everybody in the room, this will make you healthier and help you live longer. And he has everybody gets one. And then his
real quick, sorry to interrupt. You told me this on the phone a couple weeks ago. Up to that point, I had not known what adrenochrome was. Can you tell us what that is before you continue in your story?
Sure. Adrenochrome is a chemical that is made in children's bodies. It's adrenaline and blood. And when they are terrified, their body releases this. And then they filter it. They used to filter it over bronze. Now I think they filter it over silver or gold.
By torturing children.
By torturing children, eventually to death. And they then they make this into a chemical, and you can either drink it or inject it.
Let me say first off that this is a court of inquiry. It's not an adversarial court. It's a nonprofit educational event. And with enormous energy and intelligence, all of us have been brought together. And I want to just say that as a parent and as a patriot, I'm absolutely outraged by what we're allowing to happen to our children. Humanity is judged on how you treat the weakest member of the society. These children are not just kidnapped and in some cases bred by families as a cash crop. We have people in the United States of America that breed children in order to sell them. And when they are sold, they come without birth certificates, which means it's easier to kill them and have no one ask where they are. We're also importing children by the plane load. Again, children who have no documentation. It's not just child slavery or child sex abuse. It's also child torture, because you have adrenalized blood. You have the whole blood drinking ceremony of the satanic world.
And adrenochrome supposedly makes you live longer. Like a lot longer. Like you shouldn't be living this long. And I certainly, I got enough stuff to answer for on Judgment Day. I certainly would not want to answer for why I killed children so that I could live longer. So Gates is giving these drinks to everybody. And he gives me one. And I'm thinking, I'm not drinking that. I don't know what it is, but I'm not interested. I'm fine with my Dr. Pepper. And he tells everybody basically what it is, but he doesn't say adrenochrome. And he tells everybody to drink up. And I opened my Dr. Pepper and I took a sip. And he told me that I have to do what he says. And I said, who do you think you're talking to? And he says, everybody in this room has to do what I say. Take a drink of this drink. And I took a drink of my Dr. Pepper. It's like, I am not the one. And so he's ordering me to take the sip, drink it. And he's ordering everybody to do it. Everybody else is doing it. And they got the most disgusted looks on their faces, but they're doing it. I'm refusing to do it. So then I'm standing up. He tells everybody to stand up. So I sat down. Because you do not tell the High Wizard what to do.
Tell me your thoughts on the pandemic and Bill Gates, lockdown, the masks, everything.
Well, funny you should mention that. At this particular Bildeberg meeting, the main topic was population control and what to do. How can they get less people in the world so that the New World Order could come into power and take over? Abortion wasn't enough.
Well, you said Gates was talking population control even outside of abortion in the early 1990s at a meeting you were at.
Right. They were talking about creating a pandemic, more than one if they could, something that no one would suspect that somebody did. Like, it seems natural.
And what was the end goal of this pandemic stuff?
It was to kill off major portions of the population around the world so that, smaller places are easier to control.
So you're saying Bill Gates in a meeting you were at was talking about creating a pandemic? Yes. Now, did they give any lead into after the pandemic, even if there's a less of a population, there's still 7 billion people on the planet. Did they give any clues as to how to control all these people?
Well, they said that at the point that we have a pandemic, certain rules have to be enacted. Like, you can't travel. Somebody threw out, maybe they'll have to wear like masks or gloves or special clothes, or maybe they can't leave the house, or they definitely can't go from country to country. Certain jobs would be put at risk. You just want everybody to fall in line with this. And then, people have got to know that if you decide to not act right, then there's serious consequences.
Okay. I just saw something on Dave Cullen's channel talking about that, where the Canadian government is already looking at forced internment camps for those who do not participate in all of the lockdowns that they have coming in part 2, those who aren't doing the right social distancing. There's going to be essentially re-education camps for those who don't take the new lockdown hook, line, and sinker.